All right, hi everyone. Sorry for the delay. We just had some technical issues with okay, some voicing. So if you can just put your cameras on mute, we'll be good to go. So thanks for taking the time on what might be a snowy, rainy, icy afternoon to learn about Glowforge. So I have Josh with me. He's the channel sales manager at Glowforge, and I'll let him take it away.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Josh with Glowforge. I manage all of our channel sales here at Glowforge to work with Douglas Stewart, and hopefully some of you, if not already, soon. I'm out in South Carolina, so today we're a little rainy, not as bad as it's been. A little bit warmer, 65 here, so hopefully you're staying warm. I actually cut my fan on because it was a little bit warm getting the Glowforge powered up and everything. So we're gonna go through a little presentation here. If you have questions, please pop them in the chat and I'll address those as they come up. Make sure I get this started up here. It says people are waiting in the lobby. I don't know why I see that, but I'm not sure if you see that, Nicole, but it looks like it says people are still waiting. And can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So for Glowforge, I'm not sure as far as if everyone is already selling Glowforge or you're interested in bringing it on, and what sort of your main focus is, but we're seeing a massive sort of growth in EDU. We did ISTE last year. Some of you may have seen us there. So we've really been pushing a lot on the education side of things, including a lot of the things that I'll show you here that we've recently started doing as far as, pushing a lot of curriculum goes and some other new features that are coming out. Here's just a little quick video. Let me know if you don't hear sound.
Yeah, the sound's not coming through.
Okay, I'm not sure how to do this on Teams.
When you share your screen, there should have been a box there that says allow for video audio to play. So
okay.
Unshare, try sharing again and check it whenever you.
Okay, thank you.
That's typically what it is.
Appreciate that. Let's see here. I'll try again. Stop sharing. Share tray. Oh, it didn't. Wait a second. Sorry about that. The buttons are all close together for me here. All right, let's see here. Include system audio. There we go. All right, let's try this now. I cut my phone off, so no phone calls should come through. Let's see.
With Glowforge, I feel like I've future-proofed my classroom. My students have always had really big ideas, and now technology has caught up and we can bring them to life. I know my students are going to be ready for challenges way beyond what's on the next test. And it's not just that Glowforge brings their ideas to life, it's that it's so fast. They can go from doodling to a complete project before the bell rings.
We put a piece of paper in and a dinosaur skeleton came out.
I've yet to find an idea that's too big for Glowforge.
I know when Mrs. Cruz brings that Glowforge out, it's gonna be an awesome day.
I think it is a fantastic solution for teachers. Do you know that when kids have textbooks in front of them, they forget that information by the time they get home? They are so excited about Glowforge, they will never forget, like the structures of a dinosaur skeleton, because they've made them with their own hands.
This is a foot bone of a triceratops, and I made it.
This is a scapula from a triceratops, and I made it.
This is a tibia of a triceratops, and I made it.
We made it.
Glowforge has taken my classroom and my students to a whole nother level of learning. And now my students look forward to Glowforge days more than movie days.
It's like a field trip, but we stay in.
What can we make next? What can we do next, Mrs. Cruz?
I know what we should make next.
Push the button, watch it go, pull out the final result. Everything is streamlined.
I mean, how humorous is that?
I'm trying to figure out a way to teach everything with Glowforge.
As you can see there, there's quite a lot of use cases that we're seeing in classrooms from big to small. And we'll talk about some of the other projects and classrooms that are using Glowforge as I go through here. That's going forward. So just a quick overview. I really won't read up through all this, but Dan Shapiro, the CEO of the company, came up with the idea and really wanted to be able to, make something that people are able to make something at home and quickly, where you're not having to necessarily go to the store for the small things. Like I've got a little, it's super simple and it's super dumb. Well, maybe not dumb to me, but we did a project with our team where we wanted to build something, come up with an idea, make it fast. So I have a little remote for my little speaker system in here. I kept losing it. I made a little remote stand. So it just sits in there. I put a little remote icon there. It cut this out. I made that in, 3 minutes and then glue it together, 2 minutes to cut all that out, maybe. So stuff like that, where you don't have to necessarily go online, order something from Amazon, go to the store, you can make something quickly, not nearly as much turnaround time as like a traditional 3D printer. And I come from the 3D print world background, so I've worked with MakerBot, Stratasys, Flashforge, all those guys. Really cool companies. We're just doing it a little bit differently, and in a lot of cases faster. So some of the key features that set Glowforge apart. If you're familiar with this, sorry, I'll try to get through this quickly. If you're not, ask me any questions as I'm going through this. So as far as the setup goes, it is, setup is about 30 minutes. And when mine first got here, I remember opening the box. My wife was in here. From opening the box to getting our first print in the hands, it was literally 30 minutes. And my first print was this little catch-all thing. So, it's got the walls and it's got the piece underneath, glued it all together, tiny little holes, a lot of detail in there. This was about 12 minutes to cut out. And then, been using that now for a couple of years. So really easy. It's all web-based. So you log in, it shows you step-by-step what to do. And we've heard from some teachers that this, I'm not sure if every reseller offers this, but we've heard from some teachers that's a little bit intimidating. It is a larger machine. We actually heard where some people hadn't opened them up. So if that's something you offer as far as helping them set it up or go through that setup process, it definitely helps ease the nerves with this type of machine if it's something new to them that they've not done. So you might consider that if you don't already, sort of a walkthrough thing. We do offer like training on the basic FAQ stuff with our CS team as well. So you could get up to speed on the basics, getting it set up and ready to go. Really straightforward. One of the other cool things that we do is design with just a pen. So we did this down at ISTE. We had little postcards. People could draw something on the postcard, and then we put it in the laser. It traces that out immediately, and then you can create an engraved file from it. There's something else that we announced that I'll get to here shortly that just got announced yesterday that's making this even better. The live camera preview, that's definitely one thing that sets us apart from other lasers, that whatever material you put inside the Glowforge, you can see where it's at and line up your print design once you tell it how thick it is. If it's our material, it'll have barcode and it'll tell it how thick it is to adjust the height. If it's your own material, put in, a quarter of an inch, eighth of an inch, whatever. And then it'll adjust the camera so you are placing the logo or the design in the proper place. And as far as the laser precision goes, it's down to like the width of a hair. So really precise cuts, as you can see that little thing there. And I've got another little thing here of a knife. This is just metal. You can engrave. I did a marking on it. So really fine detail on the dragon here. And this is like I show it, but it's also like my letter opener and box cutter, Amazon cutter, all that stuff. And trace tool, that's something that is part of that design with just pen. Sort of talked about that, and I could show that, but we have something even better that's just come out. So the SKUs that we have for the Glowforge for resellers are the Glowforge Pro and the Glowforge Plus. If it's going to schools, I would say a majority of the time what we see is the Glowforge Pro. And in a lot of cases, it's more than one per school or one per school when it's a district order. Like I've got some requests right now for multiple units. It really depends on the class size, how many students are going to be coming through. If it's going to be in a makerspace, For a library of a high school, you might want a couple machines running. A typical project takes about 12-15 minutes to engrave and cut. Some take longer if you're doing large engraves, but cutting is really fast. So you get a 12-month warranty on it. It's a 45-watt laser tube, and it's 3 times the top speed of the basic, and it's 120% faster cut speed. So it's just going to get those prints done faster. It's got upgraded hardware, enhanced cooling. What that means is that if a classroom, let's say they're making coasters to give to their parents for, Valentine's or something like that, you could do 10 coasters at the same time, and it's just going to run through all those, engrave them, and cut them. Whereas the plus and the basic would have to pause during that to cool down. So there's no cooling down that has to happen. It's going to do it nonstop. And then the giant size prints, like you saw in that video with the pass-through slot, it's really simple to use. The software does it all for you automatically. You just run the material from the back of the machine to the front. It shows you how to line it up. And then you can cut, we've seen people cut 10-foot, 20-foot long signs and longer. Your pricing right now is $6,995 for the Pro. That's MSRP, and the Plus is $4,995. The other thing that I would say a majority of classrooms are getting, and sometimes this may, if you don't, have the chance to talk to them or ask the right questions, you may find that they need this after they order it. And with that point, the cost of shipping, well, I guess for resellers should be technically included, but they may have to wait to use it because it ships a little bit longer if it's not shipped at the same time. So the air filter, what this does, you run the tube out of the back of the machine and run it into the top of this filter, and it filters out the smoke and the fumes and makes it safe for using in a classroom. Some schools already have set up where they've got like their own ventilation system. Just make sure their tech department checks to make sure there's enough suction to clear that out, to make sure it's actually pooling, because it does require the actual suction to come out of the machine. Otherwise, the smoke's just going to start seeping through the Glowforge. Or they can vent it right out of a window or door. Some schools don't let that happen because it's going out into the the front or the concourse area, something like that. So definitely ask how they plan on filtering out the smoke and fumes, and the air filter is a great solution for that. All they have to do at that point is switch out the cartridge, which is $250, I believe. In a lot of schools, sometimes what we'll see is order the Pro, the air filter, maybe a cartridge or two, and then they have enough to run for the year. And this is just the overall specs of the machine. You can see all this up on our site, but it's about 3 feet wide, 2 feet deep, and about 10 inches tall off the ground. You do want it on a flat surface. Is really important for classrooms. That way the lid closes properly. That's one of the most common things we hear about, with the lid not closing, is they don't have it on an actual level surface. It's not much to take it to throw that off, but really easy solution to fix. You get the dual cameras that let you see inside, and one that also measures. And it's got autofocus. So if you take the tray out of the machine, you can do larger prints. You can do cutting boards. If you want to feed something through there, taking that tray out, you can get up to 2 inches thick inside the Glowforge. And it will autofocus on that. So you don't have to sit there and measure and do all the math to get it to fit. And then the file types, you got JPEG, PNG, SVG, PDF, more files. A lot of schools are using Adobe, Illustrator, CAD, programs like that. They can export all of those right into the app. I know Canvas is popular, Tinkercad, already stuff that schools are using. They can use those to make those files and just bring them right in. Mac, PC, iPhone, Android, Chromebooks, all of those are going to work. So if you're building out a complete makerspace for a school, this could be definitely a part of that solution. And this is something I'll go a little bit more and show you some of the stuff here. We got some files for you that we pulled that it doesn't have our phone number, our emails, any of that. You can put your own information there when you're sending it out to customers. Do have some lesson plans for you. But if you have not checked this out, definitely go and check out education.glowforge.com. You can see here some of the stuff. The curriculum we have is awesome. We're working on getting more of that. But for a teacher who's not sure what they're going to teach, we give them a lot to just hit the ground running. So it shows them all sorts of stuff, and I'll show you an example of one here shortly. So as far as Glowforge goes in the classroom, there's quite a few use cases, and I've just handpicked a few here to go through. to sort of talk about the different things, and also the types of teachers and people at the schools that are, making those decisions to get the Glowforge in the classroom when you're on those calls, or you're going to do those visits, however you work in your business. First up here.
The Glowforge has been really effective as a beacon for drawing new students into our curriculum. I'm an artist and educator here at Cornish College of the Arts. I use this Glowforge behind me to produce large installations and also use it to help educate our student body. I first saw Glowforge online, and we took those videos to our administration, and it wasn't too hard to convince them that this was a tool that the school needed to use. Whenever you get a new tool in the shop, I think that there's initial excitement about it, and so we've been having a lot of different departments, a lot of different classes come in and use this machine, and I've been walking them through the process, and it's a short process since it's an easy machine to use. They're literally able to take drawings, move it into the Glowforge, and then simply just print it out and then assemble it. One of the great benefits of the Glowforge is rapid prototyping. Being able to jump from your Illustrator file to the Glowforge, cutting it, seeing if your components align, and then if they don't, you just come back and do it. It's revolutionized the way that students are making work. And when the students leave, I get to start using the Glowforge for my own work. My practice revolves around kinetic art. That means I make pieces that move. For a long time, I've been making these pieces all by hand with little bits of wire, spending hundreds and hundreds of hours. But ever since we got this Glowforge, I've bumped up the scale of my work, and I've bumped up the detail of the work, and I've been able to really hone in on these massive installations that I've always been dreaming of, but never really been able to accomplish. The Glowforge has been really effective as a
So you can see that's just one of the cases here, and we'll go through a couple more. But you can see here one of the examples being used in a STEAM program, making these battle bots. You can see the different components that they've used to sort of assemble that machinery together and to make it functional. And what's really cool about what he said too is being able to test that first. So in a lot of cases, for myself and other people, where I want to test something first, I've got spare pieces of cardboard all over the place, and I'll just grab a piece, toss it in there, make sure it fits. I'm not sure if you can see it here, but this little acrylic light I've got, I change that engrave as I go. The first time I got that lamp, I just took a piece, did a quick measurement, took some cardboard, and I did the cuts until I got it to fit nice and snug in there. Was able to create that. So we actually have some people if you've ever watched BattleBots, they're actually using a Glowforge back there with all the really high-tech machinery. Really cool place, a cool use case for laser.
I love making moving contraptions, and where the Glowforge is so vital is being able to create those precision parts that allow my mechanisms to run smoothly and continuously run throughout the day without breaking. My name is Austin Henry Biscup, and I am an interior architecture student here at Cornish College of the Arts. I actually had never used a laser cutter before. This was my first experience with it, but what was so great is the intuitive software. I was so blown away by what I could do, and that moment opened up so many awesome possibilities for me. The automaton was something that I did through several iterations. I laid by what I could do, and that moment opened up so many awesome possibilities for me. The automaton was something that I did through several iterations. I laser cut over and over again until I got it just right, so it all lined up, and that was one of my most proud moments, was when I got that mechanism to run smoothly all through parts made from the Glowforge. I love making moving contraptions.
So as far as robotics goes, and what he was talking about there with being able to do all the moving parts, this is an example of one of the lesson plans that we have. And this is just the opening portion of it. You'll have some of these that we'll send out, or I think they may be in chat, however that works in Teams. But this gives you everything you need. It shows you the grade level that this is pertinent for, how difficult it's going to be. So, this is going to need a little bit more skill as far as, assembling it once it's done, the duration, the subjects it covers, the standards that it covers, and all the vocab. And as you go through these, when you start looking at them, you'll see it goes into, gives the whole lesson plan, talking points the teacher needs, questions for the students, and lays out the whole activity. And again, a lot of this is education.glowforge.com, but we do have some available as PDF files that you can share with your customers. And last one of these.
Now that I've used the Glowforge, there's no way that I would go back to cutting things by hand. It just makes it so easy to be able to just set up a file and print it. My name is Danae Brown and I'm an interior architecture student at the Cornish College of the Arts. The first time that I saw Glowforge, I was inspired to create something that had to do with my studies in interior architecture. What seemed exciting about it was the simplicity to integrate it to my work. It doesn't really take someone who's really skilled to know how to use it. You just click a button and it just prints very easily. Using the Glowforge allowed me to build upon the work that I wanted to do in a really quick and efficient way. Once I graduate, I definitely see myself continuing to use the Glowforge. Now that I've used the Glowforge,
so kind of the last case here. And as you're watching these videos, if you've not used a Glowforge yet or seen one in person, you might have noticed a lot of different materials. So this is an example of like an MDF, just a cheap, sort of sturdy piece of plywood type material that you can use. And someone's constructed this whole little bridge here. I've seen people use it in small model places that, model things that they're building, students doing, different build and shrink tests to make sure the structure is going to be, sound, and the whole, what is that? Uh-oh, we got it there. Okay. Yeah, so where you'd hang, cans or whatever to test the strength of the bridge. Just another use case. But some of the materials, and it may show it here shortly, but wood, acrylic, leather, veneer are things that you can cut and engrave. You can engrave on things like glass. You can etch on metal. You can engrave on tile, marble. All sorts of stuff that students can use, and not just in the classroom. We've seen a lot of students using this for like business classes or fundraising things where they'll make something to give away, like a large cutting board or hats or coasters and other things like that, using that to fundraise for the school or for the whatever program it's for. And this, you'll get a full deck of this. Sort of just goes over who typically is looking at purchasing the Glowforge within the school. And if you do other businesses as well, we do sell some to government and other entities. Happy to answer any questions there. But as far as education goes, this is where we're seeing a lot of those requests come from and interest. So definitely go through this. This is all going to be provided in the sheets as you go through it. But a lot of teachers, when we were at SD, we had a constant line of teachers coming through wanting to test it out, and make all sorts of different materials and talk about the different use cases from the classroom to the makerspace to their personal use. It's really exciting. And one of the things too that we talk about, we heard a lot from there, is that a lot of schools already have 3D printers, but the speed at which you can make something with a Glowforge is quite a bit faster, whereas a 3D printer might be something every 6 to 7 hours. A Glowforge, you can do a student project in 5-10 minutes, and then they can sit down and work on assembling it, and then go on to the next student. So it's something that is really fast to work with. You can do a lot of versions quickly. You can do multiple students project in one sitting, which is great for a lot of schools and teachers. Some of the FAQ stuff here that we've got, and if you have another question for me, please let me know. I don't know how to see the chat in here, so maybe a hand raise or something. I'm not super familiar with Teams. But some of the stuff here, you do have a safety sheet that is going to be included in the stuff that will be sent to you today. It is safe for home office and school, including the air filter that we have tested. We've got all the certifications and where we've tested that air filter in a class. And the air quality it's putting out is similar to what an air filter you would run in a classroom or just in your home, the quality of air you're going to get out. You may, some people complain, I've not complained, I've heard, like, what does it smell like? Does it put out a lot of smoke and like make the room stink? I do a lot of leather work personally, and I'm used to it. You can, it's kind of like maybe like a not so great scented candle. You can kind of tell if you walk in the room. I don't really like the smell of acrylic, but I'll burn a candle or something after. But there's a lot of ways to get that out. If you're using the air filter, it's going to be a tiny scent. I vent mine out the window sometimes or out of a door. But you're going to smell just a little bit of the material, but it's not as strong over like making kids run out of the classroom. We did it at ST. We had 4 machines running nonstop, and I stood there right with the teachers talking as we did their engrave, and not a single person complained about the smell. And leather tends to be a little bit more. So the setup is under 30 minutes. It does require an internet connection, so this is super important as far as the connection that you can get. It does require Wi-Fi, and I believe it's 2.4. I'll have to double check on that, the specific one that it can work with. We do have the advanced network settings that some IT departments want. But this is super important to check with your IT departments or the schools to check with that to make sure this is something that's going to work with their existing Wi-Fi. That way they're not having to return it and take any hits or fees. And the same for you. So just make sure this is something you talk about, is that internet connection. I'll make sure that, I think it's in the FAQ there, the types of connections that are okay with it, but there's no Ethernet cables, no ports to plug in things. It's all done over the cloud. Hundreds of materials. I mean, we've seen fabric, foam core. I've done foam board. Your cutting area is about 12 by 20 as your work area inside the machine. The pass-through slot's about 20 inches wide, but as long as you want. So I did a project one time that was about 20 inches wide, 30 inches long of these foam board, but I assembled it into a giant 10 foot by 10 foot sign that they designed. And then they took it and assembled it. I labeled the parts on the back as I printed them and cut them out. So your imagination, the school's imagination, can make really large objects just like that dinosaur you saw with that pass-through slot. The autofocus and 3D engraving. 3D engrave is something that is kind of a cool feature. It uses grayscale imaging. So you can do depth. So it'll adjust kind of like what a CNC will do. It'll adjust the depth that it engraves. So you can get deeper and lower cuts and actually create, I've seen a guy do roof tiles on a house all on one piece of wood, but it looked like actual individual tiles that he'd assembled. It was all just using a 3D engraved file. And all models do need to be vented outside or vented using a compact air filter. And there again, the Safer School, education.glowforge.com. You're going to have a lot of these documents that you can just share directly. Glowforge, the service, is free to use. A lot of schools use Adobe and other apps to build out that application, to build out whatever design they're doing, and then they bring that file into the Glowforge app. And I'll have a minute here to hop in the Glowforge app and just give you a quick preview and show you a couple new things. And then how precise is the laser? Width of a hair, we've talked about that. Can I move this one? There we go. Yeah, so it's going to cut wood, fabric, leather, paper, plexiglass, acrylic, mylar, rubber, tons of stuff, even engraving foods. One thing to note with food is if it's being used in that setting, like a baking class, it does need to be isolated for only food if the food's going to be consumed, because you don't want cross-contamination, having leather and acrylic potentially get inside that food, making it unsafe. So food ones, there are bakeries and stuff that have them. Just make sure that that's the only thing they use it for. I've done some marshmallow engraves, and my kids were like, "Are you doing s'mores?" They came running in here. It smells amazing. If you ever get one and want to test it out with a marshmallow, promise it's cool. And it looks awesome too. I can engrave on glass, metal, marble, and coated metal. What it means with that is using a spray. Like I use Surmark. There's Alumark and other things that you spray it on there. It burns it on there permanently. That's how I get that design on the metal there. Anodized aluminum. Some tech schools that have MacBooks or iPads and stuff, it can actually engrave on the back of that. It's just removing that anodized layer on the aluminum, and some other stuff. So phones, tablets, all those settings are built in. And then there's the 12 by 20 material size. So what I'm going to do now is pop into the Glowforge app. Are there any questions?
Yeah, we do have some questions. Who would you consider the target decision maker to be? Like the career and tech director? Those are examples given.
Yeah, I would say that the tech directors are big time. You know, a lot of times the request is coming through initially from the teacher, because they're the ones asking that, but the tech directors are the making that. We've had principals that are making that decision, and on a, I would say district wide though, it's a lot of times the tech director, and we do see a lot of multi-unit requests because they're building out spaces for, this coming year, next year. So they've got that budget to spend. But I would definitely say the tech directors, but the teachers might be the one to do that initial ask for it. And then the maker spaces, a lot of libraries are adding them in that school space for the entire school to have access to.
And the next question is the software a device basis or may students access it as a web app to design projects out of classroom? Is there a limit to amount of user access of the app?
Okay, so do you still see my screen now? Is it on the, do you see like a different page here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the
Nope,
app.
I
It
can
is
see
web.
all the projects there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is inside the Glowforge app. So it is web-based. So they can log in from it, from their classroom, from home. When you're if you're using the premium software, which is our built-ins, if they want to design it in the app, you can have up to 3 people using that membership in the app. You can have unlimited students access it. What a lot of teachers do in schools is they'll set up a main one, and they may set up like an account, either give each student an account they can work on, or make like a, this class. That way, all their files and stuff stay together. And now you can actually organize. You can create your own folders here too. So they can put first period, second period, however they work it out, and keep all those projects organized. A lot of times students will bring those designs in to the teacher and then they'll print it. The one thing that's maybe a little bit different than like a 3D printer is that you can send things remotely. They could send a file from home to the Glowforge. The Glowforge won't do anything unless you're present to push the button. So no nefarious activities. Kids can't send things they shouldn't be sending to the Glowforge, and the teacher come the next day to something they don't want to see. It does have to be, pressed on a button, so they can't send random prints there. And then the users can all be managed from, you just go add user, have a main account, and then create a bunch of daughter accounts underneath that. You can have, the teacher can have as many as they want. A lot of them do stick with like one main one that they keep all the stuff organized for the classroom, and the students can, have their own access as well.
Okay, the next question was if Deal Reg is available, which is not, I'm not sure if there's any thoughts down the road on that, if that might change or not.
Yeah, it's not something that we currently have. It's something that we've definitely had a discussion around. I don't see it being anything that's going to be the focus right now that we have that set up, but it could definitely be something. If we get enough requests for it, I can definitely make sure those requests are heard and see what we can do. But right now, we don't have deal registration on this.
Next question is how often and what Glowforge parts will require to be replaced?
Sure. So with regular maintenance, we actually have a tutorial here that shows you how to clean your Glowforge. And my internet is not being fast today. So with regular maintenance, I went to the wrong place. With regular maintenance, I've had my Glowforge now for about 2 years, and I've not done any replacements on mine. I use it pretty consistently. So as long as you're doing this standard upkeep, so this is something I make sure that I show every teacher, whoever is working with it, cleaning the Glowforge. It's important that they do this about every 40 print hours. If they're printing full time every day, maybe every week, and that's something to do. I think in our offices, we do it there on Thursdays, cleaning day. So that's another thing for students to learn, especially in the business classes. Like, you want the machinery to run well, you got to clean it. This shows step by step. They'll probably want to go through this the first few times. But as long as you're doing these things, unless something gets dropped and broken, there's no real like maintenance or expected repairs that you have to do. So long as you're keeping the belts clean, keeping the lens clean, stuff like that. There's no end life that we're aware of yet on the laser tube. You know, I think it's the use of that tube can go much longer than we initially thought. So there's no like timeline expiration date on those tubes. And then you can see here the windows and the that let the lasers pass through, keeping all that stuff clean. The lens head's clean, keeping this clean. All that stuff's going to help it work for a long time.
Next question is, do you have a list of school districts in Pennsylvania already that are using Glowforge?
I don't have that. Let me see, I'm going to put a note here. That's something I can definitely look into. Where's my notes at? I think I got too many windows up in here. Hold on, I was like, that's definitely something I can do. Oh, here we go. Do we have a schools? That's something I can look at. The other thing that you can do on your own too is you could go to the community here. There's also communities in Facebook and other groups. You might be able to find or search that out for schools that have it, and just find people in that area. But I don't think we have a database yet, but I'll check with our EDU team and see if that's something that maybe they've been working on, you know, sort of compiling.
Is there an extended warranty?
Extended warranty, we do have one directly through Glowforge. We don't have that available through resellers quite yet, because it is something that we have an agreement directly with Extend is the program, the company. It's possible, I don't know how to go about it, but there are other resellers who have their own extended warranty programs that they can house us under. I don't know how that works, but that could be something you could look at yourself. But our current extended warranty is only through Glowforge. We don't have that available for resellers quite yet.
Do you have a marketing portal to grab content?
Yes, I do have a portal. It does need to have some updated stuff. I will link it real quick here. It's a little bit outdated. That's one thing I've been working on adding. A lot of these files that I'm going to share today will have that. And what I might do is just send this in here. But I will send it. We have a portal. The only thing is that it is outdated, but we're working on a new method of doing that, kind of like where everyone will have their own portal. But right now, this is a makeshift one that you can use. You can get the marketing, the assets, and everything you need to get it up on your site, or send out to your customers. I'll grab that after and make sure that gets sent out to everybody.
If no deal reg, do you offer exclusive territories to protect our deals?
Not yet. We don't have that in play. And that's something that since I've started with this, because we do have our own EDU team, it's a very small sales team. And that, you know, we're not out there, you know, actively doing stuff, but we're not trying to pull from anyone else's sales, and I don't communicate with the EDU team. But that is something that we're working on. It's not something that we have. Sorry, I got something in my. It's not something that we have right now to protect those deals. But I would say that, yeah, as far as that goes, there's nothing right now, but it's definitely something we're aware of.
Are you currently on any national, state, or local purchase contracts?
That's another one I'll have to ask because I'm not on the EDU side of things, so I'm not sure. I don't sell directly to education, so that is kind of a separate department from the reseller channel. But I will see what I can find out there and see if they do have any of those. I do know that a lot of times resellers get those deals because we are not on those contracts. So it'll be a case where the school might, you know, have a large purchase order, and it's way easier for them just to order through one of you all that is already set up with them than going through the whole process of getting us set up. So I do know that in most cases we're not.
Do you sell direct to schools at an EDU discount or full MSRP?
We do have a full MSRP. The EDU program, they do run occasional discounts. and whatever is on that education.glowforge.com. But I think that those are very limited runs. Last fall was really the first time we ever did like discounts. It was something very, very new for Glowforge. I'm not sure if that's going to continue in 2023 or what that looks like. But I believe that with the pricing and stuff that you are all getting, I think there's room there to compete on that. It's just that, we do have a map policy in place as far as what you're putting on your site or when you're, sending that out. But there's definitely other resellers and programs that have their own benefits to ordering through them.
Right, those are all the questions that we have right now.
Okay, perfect. Well, I definitely appreciate those. Keep them coming. I'll answer what I can now, and if not later. Another thing that I'll say too is, especially if this is something new for you, you have someone who's interested in. My job here at Glowforge is to help you all, talk to those people. I've been using Glowforge for a while now. So if you have someone who is interested and you want them to see the app and get a demo, feel free to shoot me an email. Say, we'll get it on the calendar, and I can hop in the app and run through the Glowforge app, how they can use it in the classroom, or just a call to help answer those questions. So you don't have to learn the ins and outs of it. I'm here for that. So please feel free to reach out if you get any interest and you want a little assistance on that until you get up and running. So in the Glowforge app, I'll just do a quick preview. We don't have much time here. And again, any questions you have, just pop them in there and let me know if you get a backlog of them. But this is just what the website looks like. You go to app.glowforge.com, log in with your account. And this is just got changed recently. It's been through a couple versions. This is the newest one. One of the things that a lot of people are really excited about, these smart folders. So a classroom can go here. They can do their own folders here. Where you could create, like I might make one for my kids for their little designs and stuff that they do, and then you can organize it as well. So this should not be taking so long. Here you go. So art and decor. So these are going to be catalog designs or things that you've categorized in this or the classroom is done. So in our catalog, we do have. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
So as far as the catalog goes, we do have about 2,000 or so files in the catalog that are ready to go, sort of like what I showed you with those curriculum. Those are files that we have that classrooms can use and they can get printed and start using immediately. So the catalog designs, if you haven't been there yet, go to catalog.glowforge.com, check it out. There's tons of stuff. One of the really cool things that I talk about with schools, especially whenever I've had students on there, these files, all of these things are made by Glowforge owners. So if you're a Glowforge owner, you're a designer, you can submit your designs to the Glowforge catalog. Every time this stuff gets printed and made, that the creator gets paid. So it's a great passive income, a great thing for students to learn about. I've seen a lot of classes that do like business programs for kids to come up with their own business ideas. So like, I'm going to sell coasters. I'm buying, 10 coasters for $4 and I'm selling at $5 a coaster, whatever. Those sorts of things they're doing. But if they come up with a really unique design, like this little wheel or the map here, or something like that, they can submit those into the app, into the catalog to be used by anyone that has a Glowforge, and then they get paid on it. One new thing that I do want to show you here before we get too far into it, in the Glowforge app, this is something that we just announced the other day. So really, like, this has been on TechCrunch, and that's about it. Not a lot of people know about it yet. There were I think there were well over 1,000 people on the live stream when we announced it. So we just came out with this new thing. I know a lot of you are probably hearing buzz around AI, but we do have something now that we've integrated into our application called Magic Canvas. So in here, you can type out things and just come up with, whatever idea. Like you can see these badgers here, and it shows you what they're doing. Gentlemen badgers wearing suits, eating dinner. You can type this out. It's going to create that. You can choose the style that's going to be, if you want it to be a portrait, shaded pencil, charcoal drawing. This is something that we're seeing a lot of excitement around, where people are able to create something that maybe I can't draw. So for me, this is awesome because I might have an idea. I just don't have the ways to make it. This is a way that I've used to make some really fun, quick designs. Personally, I've used it like I do my dreams. It draws my dreams and paints my dreams. It's really fun. But if you're not seeing this yet, it's really fun to play around with. But AI is definitely helping a lot of folks inside this world be able to create different designs. So you can see some of the different ones that I've done here, some of the other stuff that people have created within the app, and this sort of updates as we see new things coming out there. And you can see another wild horse is running, and you can change that to any style that you want. And also inside the app here, you can see this is showing you a preview inside my Glowforge that's back behind me. So you can see with proof grade material, this right now is not available to resellers. We will have bundles coming, 5 packs and 10 packs of I think the top 10 SKUs. So plywoods and acrylics, where you'll be able to order these in, because this is going to be your consumables you're going to be selling on a monthly basis to those customers. This will come pretty soon, but the benefit of this is that it plugs in automatically. So whatever settings they have, if they've got a design in here, I'm just going to grab something out of here. So if they got something in there, it's automatically going to put the right settings for cutting, for engraving, scoring. They don't have to sit there and try to figure out what those power settings and speed settings are. So I can click here. It's going to automatically put the right speed for engraving, which you can glance at and see and kind of get an idea for that material. The same as cutting, it's going to change that speed and power to where it's going to cut all the way through this material. It's pretty thick material. In a lot of cases too, I buy a lot of stuff elsewhere. If it's a similar material, like I buy my leather from Tandy Leather and other places, if it's the same thickness, I'll just use our leather thickness, our settings, and it works just fine. We also have cardboard in there. You can do iPhones, iPads, I think the Microsoft tablets and stuff like that in there. Other settings that school IT departments and stuff like that we use. But you can see some of the materials here. And when they're used, even just copy paper, it's a really great way to do fun little things for classrooms for my kids. We do a lot of birthday cards now where instead of spending $5, we're making a custom one and cutting it out, and it looks really cool. So inside the app here, were there any other questions that came through? Make sure.
Nope, those were all the questions.
Okay, perfect. Just another minute here. So one of the things too that, and a lot of what you're seeing here will be something that a classroom might do in Adobe or Canvas or the free version. What I use is Inkscape. All that can be done inside the app here. But this is part of the premium service, which right now is subscription only in the app. So it's not something we sell through resellers, but just giving you an idea of what this looks like, how someone could bring in a design. They could create, oh, I got the wrong button on here. So they could create, grab this little guy, make it an engrave or a cut, make a quick little keychain. You can add in text. So a classroom might make a, a Happy New Year, something like that, that they can hand to students, kids can take home to their parents. All sorts of fun use cases that you can do quickly, and especially building out new things. But this is just a really quick sort of preview of the app. Definitely willing to go in a more in-depth view. We can even make something with the Glowforge here if you're interested. Feel free to reach out. Nicole, will they get my email and everything at the end of this?
Yeah, I can make sure that our sales team can help get your email out there to anybody who has any questions that they want to follow up with you. And then we'll also send a post-webinar email with all the resources that you wanted to give to them.
Okay, awesome. Oh, am I still here? What did I click? Am I still here?
You're still here.
Okay, sorry, I'm very new to the Teams version of things. Well, I know that was kind of a quick run through of the Glowforge. If you have any questions about, what else the capabilities of the machine are, I'm happy to help answer your call. If you want to see a more, like I said, more in-depth view of the application, how it works, happy to run through it, print it. I'll even mail you the print if you want to, have it for yourself. But lots of cool things you can do here, and I'm excited to see what you might find out there as you're, making phone calls and visiting schools and other customers you have.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for joining us, everybody, today.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. I'll hopefully chat with you soon. Thank you.